Hello everyone, welcome to iQuanta. Today we'll be discussing the logical reasoning section of CLAT. We'll start from the basics. Firstly, we'll discuss the exam pattern and then we'll cover the major topics which are asked in this section in CLAT. And then we'll be practicing a few beginner friendly questions on the concepts as well. So let's begin this session. Firstly, I'll discuss the exam pattern here. So as you can see, all of the questions are MCQ type and the total number of questions vary from 22 to 26, which is around 20% of the entire paper. So of course, this is a very important section for your CLAT exam. And each correct answer fetches you a +1 marks. However, if you get an answer incorrect, it will be a penalty of 0.25 marks. So of course, this is a very important topic for your CLAT. And of course, you should be well prepared for it if you are aiming to get into the top NLUs of the country. So let's look at the major topics which are asked in this section. The first topic is statements and assumptions, in which you will be provided a statement and then a few options will be provided, which are the prospective assumptions based on the argument provided in the statement. So among the assumptions, you will have to choose the correct one, which are the valid assumptions and which are the invalid assumptions. So you have to be very good with the critical reasoning aspect to ace this part of the logical reasoning section. And then the second part is an analogy, where you will be given a relationship between two things or two words, and then another question will be asked based on it, which you have to find a similar relationship between the third word and one word among the options provided to you. So again, this also requires a lot of logical reasoning and critical reasoning to ace this topic as well. Then there is arguments and conclusions, which is another part of critical reasoning where you have to conclude something from an argument provided to you. So there will be 2 to 3 sentences of argument provided to you. Then you'll have to conclude information from the data provided in the argument itself. And then the fourth part will be passages based on critical reasoning. Of course, there will be a small passages of 350 to 450 words on which one or more questions based on critical reasoning will be asked. So you have to read the passage first, comprehend it well, make sure you are understanding all the arguments and the data points presented by the author. Then there will be one or two questions based on it, which will require a critical thinking for you. And if you're good at critical reasoning, if you are someone who has enjoyed your aptitude part of your education, then you would find it relatively easier to ace this section. So let's look at the few questions which are based on these topics so that even if you're a beginner, you get acquainted with it and understand how the questions are asked in the logical reasoning section of CLAT. So let's look at the question based on statements and assumption. Here a statement is provided and prospective assumptions are mentioned here. Then you have to conclude which assumption is the correct one. So let's read the statement first. The government has launched a campaign to promote the use of electric vehicles to reduce pollution. So here we can see that the main argument of the government is they want to reduce the pollution and they are introducing electric vehicles for it. So let's look at the prospective assumptions as well. The first part says people are concerned about pollution and may respond positively to the campaign. So, of course, this is a valid assumption, I guess. People are actually concerned about pollution, and that is the reason why government is introducing the electric vehicles concept and are hoping that people will align with it, and they also have the similar aim of reducing the pollution. So, of course, this is a valid assumption. This we can assume. Let's look at the second assumption. The use of electric vehicles can significantly reduce pollution. Of course, that's given, right? Because if that wasn't the case, the government would not be introducing this to reduce pollution. So, of course, we can assume this as well. This is also a valid assumption. Let's look at the third option here. The current level of pollution is high enough to warrant such a campaign. Of course, the here we can see that main aim of the government is to reduce pollution. So we can easily infer that this is the time where the pollution levels are pretty high, right? So that is why the government has introduced the electrical vehicles campaign, so that the current levels of pollution are subsidized, right? So again, this is also a valid assumption here. So from you can see that from a given argument of 2 sentences, we can assume 3 things here. All of them are valid assumptions. So along the similar lines, of course, you will only be one or two questions based on it in your logical reasoning part, and you have to assume and you have to find the correct assumption based on it. So that would be all for the statements and assumptions part. Let's look at the next topic. Again, this is an analogy. Here the statement is a relationship is given between river and ocean, and we have to find a relationship between vein and one of the four options provided here, right? So how is a river related to an ocean? So you can see that there are multiple rivers flow into a large water body, which is an ocean. These are rivers, right? So along the similar line, I guess we can infer that a vein carries blood through the entire body and then disposes the deoxygenated blood in the heart itself, right? So this will be your vein and this will be your heart. So these both follow a similar relationship, right? So let's look at the options. Of course, the first word is in heart. We can infer this. This is a correct analogy here. Artery is not the correct answer here because veins and arteries are similar in this part where they both carry blood. Veins carry the deoxygenated one and arteries carry the oxygenated one. So these are not analogous to river and ocean. They are analogous to the flowing part or the carrying part of blood. Let's look at the next option. Blood again. No, if the river was given a relationship to water, let's say, then we would have inferred that veins are related to the blood, right? So here also, blood will not be a right answer. Let's look at the fourth option, capillary. The role of capillary is to filter blood and not exactly carry the blood and dispose it into a large body, which is heart, air, and the ocean in case of the river. So again, this can also be eliminated here. We can see this was a fairly easy question if you are well aware of the analogy concept. The heart will be a correct answer here. River is related to the ocean as vein is related to the heart, right? Let's look at the next topic. This is a question based on arguments and conclusions. Here an argument is provided and a question is asked which of the following is the best conclusion that can be drawn from the above argument, right? So we have to develop a conclusion based on the argument provided in the question. So let's look at the argument first. Increasing the legal age for purchasing alcohol will lead to a reduction in road accidents. So we'll underline the main parts. Yeah, the main part is increasing the legal age and with the aim of reduction in road accidents, right? Let's continue. Research shows that younger drivers are more likely to drink and drive, causing a significant number of accidents. So another focus is here is on younger drivers. So the argument basically aims at increasing the legal drinking age because the younger drivers are more prone to drink and drive, causing a larger number of accidents, right? The argument is very clear to us now. So we'll look at the options first. Uh, First option is drinking alcohol is the primary cause of road accidents. No, this is an generalization. Drinking alcohol and driving among the younger population is the main leading cause of road accidents. Not exactly drinking alcohol for the masses is. So we can eliminate this option. This will not be a correct option. Let's look at the second option. Younger drivers should not be allowed to drive. No, not at all. This is an exaggeration. The author doesn't want the younger drivers to stop driving. The author only wants that the younger driver stops drinking and driving. The author only wants the younger population to stop drinking and driving. And that can be achieved by increasing the legal drinking age, as mentioned in the argument. So again, we'll eliminate option B as well. Let's look at the third option. Raising the legal drinking age can help reduce road accidents. Absolutely correct. This is the main argument present in the question that increasing the legal drinking age will reduce the road accidents as younger people won't be drinking and driving to this extent now. Right. So this is absolutely correct. We can conclude this. Let's look at the fourth option as well. Road safety laws should focus on improving driving skills rather than addressing alcohol consumption. Not at all. This is against the argument of drinking and driving entirely. So this is another. This brings in another dimension to the argument and will not be our answer because it becomes irrelevant. It takes us away from the main argument, right? So that would be all. You saw most of the major questions and major topics which are asked in your logical reasoning section of CLAT. I hope these questions are all very beginner friendly, very easy. Even if you are someone who is not well aware of the logical reasoning part of CLAT or of entirely of CLAT as well, you would have gotten a brief idea of how logical reasoning questions are asked in CLAT and how you have to tackle them and address them. I hope this session was informative to you and will all the best to everyone preparing for your CLAT exams.